what happens in real life? What do people ask about? Turns out that there's two very specially interesting data sets that I really love. And it's these two here. One of them is called wild chat, and one of them is called LMCs. And the idea here is that there was like some research groups that basically set up like a website like this, and you could, just go to the website and interact with some chatbots, and it was free to use. Anyone could go here, and you were getting like real inputs by real users, right? And the idea was not to like to spy on you, sort of, but it's true that when you went to the website, you got a message like this. I'll let you read. I'll drink a little bit of water and I'll let you read. So you can see that they were telling you, hey, we're gonna like essentially record your data and we may use it for things, right? So this is what happened. They got a lot of people speaking with like different chatbots, and then they collected that and they published that. And now it's public. So that's about like 2 million real conversations from people. And that's something that it's like really public. It's accessible. There's a website. You can see it here. It's called Wild Visualizer. And they just, like display the conversations very nicely in an interface that I recommend you check out. Again, 2 million conversations, and something that is very, I'd say important is that the amount of conversations that are not toxic, so you can see them in red here, are not that many. Things that are blue and things that are green here are toxic conversations. So that's something to keep in mind. People are very toxic sometimes. You could say, well, maybe this is like not so representative, like maybe if I have a different chatbot that is about a different thing, I wouldn't get so many toxic users, perhaps. But toxicity is out there. Like green and blue dots here are toxic conversations, as I said, and it's a very big chunk of the total amount of conversation. So let's have a look at things that, like any chatbot could find. And of course, now you have to think a little bit about, if I have a chatbot, what could be the types of things that I could find? Because of like the examples that I'm going to show now are about general chatbot like ChatGPT, but those are things in general that many users could be talking about. So many of the things are just normal requests, really, like things that are not problematic. Okay, questions that people just want an answer to, right? That's perfect. Now, sometimes users get a little bit more personal, right? So they can start maybe asking about things about the system. Again, like not toxic, right? Like this is not exactly asking about like anything weird, but sometimes, your chatbot should be able to handle those questions as well. It should be good at sort of interacting in a personal manner with the user. Sometimes we can also get things that don't really make sense, right? Like incomplete prompts, things like that. Your chatbot should be able to reply properly to those users. Also, sometimes you get really weird things that you don't really know how to handle, right? Like, what's this? It doesn't make sense. So, there's like a lot of chaos here, and your chatbot should be able to sort of handle this chaos, like produce like proper responses no matter what it gets. Then we get into more of like a risky field, which is, for example, things that are about opinions. If I'm, for example, like the bank chatbot, I wouldn't want to give opinions about things, right? I would want to be very certain that I'm super neutral and I don't get into politics or things about like that could be, problematic somehow. Sometimes the users try to extract information from the system. Maybe there's no harm here, or maybe there is. Maybe the user is trying to extract, like, for example, what's my prompt, things like that. That's things that can happen in real life. Toxic requests. That's, I mean, I will not go into the, if you want to check out what's like toxic requests that people are talking about, and it really gets very dark, you can go to the website. I won't cover that part, but I'll just say that people can, yeah, well, get like a little bit weird. Again, like I'm not going to show like weird things here, but you can imagine that people are really weird sometimes. You also have problems sometimes when people give you personal PII, identifiable information. That can be a real issue. And people just put that in the chat, no problem. And that goes to APIs that you don't even control sometimes. So you should really think about it. Then, of course, we have jailbreaks, a lot of them. Again, if you want to check out exactly what they are, the website's there. It's very nice as a tool to explore that. And sometimes users try to take advantage of you. They want to repurpose your system to use your API budget to do their own tasks. So, for example, here, the users were just trying to take advantage of the fact that there was like an API key here to, build their own chatbots for free, things like that. That's something that can happen as well. In general, there's a lot of risky conversations, a lot of things that, could be problematic, but I'd say nice part of everything is that there's archetypes. Conversations tend to be grouped around certain topics. They tend to be a sort of identifiable. So takeaway, yes, there's many risky conversations, but often they are sort of similar. So that brings me to the last point, which is what can we do about it? Well, again, of course, they are often similar. So that means that we can use that to defend ourselves. We can try to work with that, right? And there's different things that we can do. Of course, we can try to do pre-processing, like processing the input of the user before we actually go and send that to any API or process that in any way. We can also try to use like built-in security mechanisms, like the ones that already come shipped with most models, or you can just try to design your architecture so that, for example, it doesn't have access to like risky data or things like that. And then there's post-processing, and inside of post-processing, I would like to, make a special comment about evaluations. You are very, like, I would say, like the main way that I would address all those issues are just testing the system, evaluating, right? Evals. That's a little bit what we are going to be talking about. But if you want some pointers, there's some data sets that you can use. There's some data sets you can use. There's a very nice list that I include in the references, so you can check that out again. And again, lots of resources. These are some of the nice things that you can find out there, but there's a lot of resources. Of course, I won't dive into that because we are going to be talking about this in a second. But in general, takeaway. In general, it's very hard to, work with risky things in the real world. It's very hard, but we have tools that we can use to help us. That's a little bit what I think sums up the presentation. And now is when we go back and we recap a little bit. So in general, social dynamics are complex. Attacks are complex as well. We saw that we have many risk conversations, but they are often similar, right? Like there's things that, just relate them. And having that in mind, it's hard to work with that, but we have tools to help. Takeaway of the presentation in general, the work to do is on us. We need to keep improving. And speaking of improvement, this is where I have a feedback QR code that I really love it if you could just fill in like super fast. It's 20 seconds and there's a reward. If you fill in the form, you can get the bibliography, the articles I talked about, the websites, everything is after you fill in the QR code. So I believe we will not have a lot of time for questions, but maybe I can take them in the chat if that helps save time. Because I know I was like a little bit fast in the presentation, but I hope it was clear and that it really gave you like a little bit of like a sort of perspective on what's out there.